Chapter 11, Section 3, Solving Equations with Variables on Both Sides. The objective of this lesson is to learn to solve equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. Now, to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign, step number 1, we're going to clear the fractions. Step number 2, we're going to simplify and combine like terms. Step 3, undo addition and subtraction. Step 4, undo multiplication division. Step 5, solve for the variable and check your answer. So in example A, we have 4x plus 6 equals x. First we're going to identify the like terms. The like terms of 4x and x. Now, there's an equal sign that separates those two. Now, in order to combine those like terms, we're going to have to eliminate one or move one from one side of the equal sign to the other. And we can do that by subtracting 4x from the left-hand side, as long as I subtract 4x from the right-hand side. This 4x minus 4x, that will be eliminated. So I will end up with 6 equals, on the right-hand side I have x minus 4x, which will come out to be minus 3x. So I will have 6 equals minus 3x. On the right-hand side, let's look at our variable. Our variable x is being multiplied by a negative 3. We can undo that multiplication by the inverse operation of division. So we can divide the right-hand side by a negative 3, as long as we divide the left-hand side by a negative 3. On the right-hand side, negative 3x divided by negative 3, these negative 3's will divide out. On the left-hand side, 6 divided by negative 3 will come out to be a negative 2. So we will have a negative 2 equals x. Now let's turn around and put a negative 2 into the original equation where x is to see if our answer is correct. So, in our original equation we have 4x plus 6 equals x. We're going to substitute a negative 2 in for x. So I have 4 times a negative 2 plus 6 equals negative 2. 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. If I add 6 to that, I'll come up with a negative 2. So x equals negative 2, that's correct. In example B, I have 6x minus 2 equals negative x plus 8. There are no fractions to clear, so we need to combine like terms. On the left-hand side, I see 6x. On the right-hand side, I see minus x. But there's an equal sign separating those. That means I need to eliminate one of those in order to move it to the other side. So I could, on the right-hand side, it's minus x. I could add x, as long as I add x to the left-hand side. The minus x and the plus x will drop out. On the left-hand side, I have 6x plus x. That will come out to be 7x. I bring down the minus 2. I bring down the equal sign. And on the right side, all that's left is plus 8. Now we're going to isolate the variable. X is being multiplied by 7 and subtracted by 2. So I'm going to undo the subtraction by adding 2. If I add 2 to the left-hand side, I need to add 2 to the right-hand side. The minus 2 and the plus 2 on the left-hand side will cancel out. So I will be left on the left-hand side with 7x. On the right-hand side, 8 plus 2 is 10. So 7x equals 10. On the left-hand side, x is being multiplied by 7. I can undo multiplication by using its inverse operation of division. So I'm going to divide the left-hand side by 7, as long as I divide the right-hand side by 7. 7x divided by 7, these 7's will divide out, so I will be left with x. On the right-hand side, 10 divided by 7 comes out to be approximately 1.43. So x is approximately 1.43. In example C, I have 5x minus 2 plus 3x equals 17 plus 12x minus 23. The first thing we're going to do is combine like terms. Let's look at the left-hand side of the equation. I've got 5x and 3x. I combine those into 8x. On the right-hand side of the equation, I have 17 and minus 23. Those are like terms. So I have 17 minus 23 will come out to be negative 6. Now I'm going to bring down the rest of the equation. Minus 2 equals the negative 6 plus, bring down the plus 12x. Now I'm going to continue to look for like terms. On the left-hand side I have an 8x. On the right-hand side I have a plus 12x. Again, you're going to include the sign in front of the term. But because there's an equal sign separating these like terms, that means I'm going to have to eliminate one from a side to bring it to the other side. So if I eliminate the 8x by subtracting 8x, I have to subtract 8x to the right-hand side. So 8x minus 8x, that will cancel out. On the right-hand side, I have 12x minus 8x. That will come out to be 4x. I do have a like term on the left-hand side, which is minus 2, and a like term on the right-hand side, which is negative 6. But again, the equal sign is separating those. Now, because I moved the variable x to the right-hand side, I want to get all the numbers to the left-hand side. So let's eliminate this minus, or this negative 6. I could eliminate the negative 6 on the right-hand side by simply adding 6, as long as I add 6 to the left-hand side. This minus 6 plus 6, that will drop out. On the left-hand side, you can think of this minus 2 as a negative 2. So negative 2 plus 6 will come out to be 4. Now, my simplified equation, we are down to 4 equals 4x. X is being multiplied by 4. We want to isolate the variable. We're going to undo the multiplying by 4 by dividing by 4, as long as I divide the other side by 4. On the right-hand side, 4 divided by 4 will be 1. So I will end up with 1 times x, or just x. On the left-hand side, 4 divided by 4 is 1. So x equals 1. In example D, we have no fractions to get rid of, but we do have the distributive property that we need to perform on the left-hand side. So I'm going to have 4 times x, which comes out to be 4x. 4 times 5 comes out to be 20, but it's a minus 20. And I'm going to bring the rest of the equation down. Plus 2 equals x plus 3. On the left-hand side, let's look for some like terms. I have minus 20, and I have plus 2. We combine those to be minus 18. I'm going to bring the rest of the terms down, including the equal sign. We're going to continue to look for some like terms. On the left-hand side, I see 4x. On the right-hand side, I see x. But because there's an equal sign separating those two, I'm going to have to eliminate one of those to move it to the other side. So, in this case, let's go ahead and subtract x from the right-hand side. I can do that as long as I subtract x from the left-hand side. So, on the right-hand side, x minus x, that will drop out or equal 0. On the left-hand side, 4x minus x will come out to be 3x, and bring the rest of the terms down. Subtract 18, bring down the equal sign, and bring down plus 3. Now we're going to take a look at isolating the variable. X is being multiplied by 3 and 18 is being subtracted by x. First, let's undo the subtraction. We're going to do that by adding 18 to the left-hand side, as long as I add 18 to the right-hand side. This minus 18 and plus 18 will equal 0. On the right-hand side, I have 18 plus 3. So I have 3x on the left-hand side plus 21. x is still being multiplied by 3. We can undo that by dividing by 3, as long as we divide the right-hand side by 3. 3x divided by 3 will equal x. 21 divided by 3 will equal 7. Now we can go back into the original equation, substitute 7 in for x to test whether 7 is the actual solution. So the original equation is 4 times x minus 5 plus 2 equals x plus 3. Every time I'm going to see x, I'm going to substitute 7 in for that. So I have 4 times 7 minus 5 plus 2 equals 7 plus 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 2 is 10. And on the right side of the equation, 7 plus 3 is 10. So x equal to 7 is our solution.